I was still a venture capitalist. I had a bank full of money. I had some time. It was pure freedom. The sun was shining at the time of my life. But then, 6 to 8 months later, I realized that I completely recreated the same feeling experiences I had at home, back in Germany. And I asked myself, was this experiment really such a great idea, or was I just plain stupid? And I asked further, why are we tending to recreate the same feeling experiences in our lives? And how do we create success in the first place? Not just money, but real success. And as I went down into the rabbit hole, I have to confess that I faced the most challenging years of my life because every single thing was basically stripped away from me. I wasn't a tech entrepreneur anymore. I wasn't a husband anymore. I didn't have a circle of friends. I was surely not a venture capitalist anymore. And I looked at myself in the mirror and said, what's left? And I had to say, nothing. Nobody. Peter. Can I live with that? But then about 2 years later, as I continued going down the rabbit hole, something changed. I was on a plane from New York back to Santa Barbara, and I was dozing by the plane, and there was this wake-up moment where suddenly this name, Conscious Business Institute, appeared in front of me. And I was wide awake. It was like somebody opened an ice bucket over my head. And I said, this is what I want to do with my life. Nothing else. This is it. And then things started to change eventually. Not by doing more, not by working harder, but by somehow unfolding in front of me. And today we're working with some of the largest and most well-known companies in the world. And every time I'm standing up there working with them, I'm so deeply grateful, I'm so humbled to have been able to walk this path. Now, I'm not saying that to brag, but to share with you one of the experiences that I made along the way, and that is that the way we pursue success in our culture is fundamentally broken. It's our model of success that's making us suffer. Take a look at this. Since we are young, our culture tells us to follow a model that looks like this. We have to do more, we have to accumulate a lot of stuff, and then finally we become somebody. So we enter school, and our school teachers tell us we have to do more, we have to work harder, we have to accumulate good grades, straight A's, and eventually, if we're lucky, we become an honors student. And we do that for 10 years, and then we go to college, and we work harder on something that might not even interest us. We accumulate grades, maybe a master's degree, a PhD, and then we become a doctor, businessman, or a lawyer. And then we continue, we go into our businesses, and then we work harder, we push more, we accumulate some money, we get a car, we get a house, we get a boat, and eventually we become important, powerful, or respectable. Maybe even somebody names a building after us in our hometown. But what you can see is that this model, to do more, accumulate more, and become, doesn't leave any room for what we really seek for in life. There's no room for balance, fulfillment, for peace of mind, for the genuine connections that we are all seeing. And all along, what we are trying to do is to work harder, get another degree, maybe become a venture capitalist, thinking that somehow this will make us happy. But think about it for yourself. What really has meaning for you? When is the last time your boss came up to you and looked you straight into the eyes and saw you for who you are, recognized you for the individual you are, not for what he wanted you to be? When did you turn around to your employees, maybe to your children, and look them straight into the eyes and say, I recognize you, not for who I want you to be, but for who you are? So the question that I was asking myself is, if this success model is so strugglesome, why do we continue to pursuing it in our culture? And the reason why we pursue it, I found, is that there's an underlying driver, an underlying mechanism that causes many of our behaviors and actions. And this underlying mechanism I call the model of dominance and subservience. And you can see all around us in our culture that this model of dominance and subservience runs a lot of our businesses, our governments, and oftentimes even our private relationships. And it is based on scarcity. It's a fear-based model where we hold a fundamental belief that there's not enough money, that there's not enough time, that there's not enough love or support.